Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to Monetary Games and Collectibles. It's time for another action figure review here on the channel. And as you can see on the screen in front of you right now, today's installment is going to be taking a closer look at the brand new G.I. Joe Classified Series Red Dog and Taurus 2-pack. So stick around, I'm going to give you all the ins and outs, ups and downs that you need to know about this pair so that if you've been thinking about picking them up for yourself, you'll have good, thorough information to make a purchase decision with. I'm going to kick things off by jumping back in time and taking a look at the packaging on the day they arrived on my doorstep, and then I'll get into the figures themselves, talk about the aesthetic experience and the visual qualities of the figures, jump into the articulation and posability, give you a rundown of all the accessories and added value, pop them next to a couple of other classified figures to see how they scale and compare in display. And with all that said and done, you should have plenty of information to know whether this pair are a pair you want to crack your wallet and purse open for. So let's get into it, and let's jump back in time to visit past Chris, taking a look at the box on the day they arrived. Here we go. Okay then folks, well here is Red Dog and Taurus in packaging, so if you're minting box you can get a little peek as to what this looks and feels like. We've got, the standard G.I. Joe Classified Series 2-pack packaging that we've seen for a long while now, with the big carbon fibre motif, the logo, G.I. Joe Classified Series across the bottom, the symbol to indicate which team they belong to, G.I. Joe, the name of the characters across the top, so we've got David, Red Dog, Tapu Tapu, and Varujan, Taurus, Ivazyan. That was dreadful pronunciation. Please don't come at me in the comments. And then, of course, we've got the window across the middle there showing off all the included goodies. The number 193 in the line, got the big digital render there at the slaughterhouse in the training grounds out the front of the slaughterhouse. Couple of breakaway windows showing off some key features. Got all the legal bollocks and malarkey across the bottom. And then the file card. But for a 2-pack, I often don't do the file cards because it's a bit much going through 2 batches of information. But the long and the short of it, folks, is these are saying we're big, we're mean, we kick ass, and you better watch out. Then we've got some artwork down the side. I think anyone who watches this regularly now will know what my opinion is around the kind of artwork change, the transition in the artwork that we've seen of late. This one's not much better. I mean, look at Taurus's face there. It just looks weird. And then the other side, it's all that repeat bollocks and the QR code to nowhere. So there we are then, folks. There's the packaging for the minting box, folks, or those interested to know the presence of this set. But I'm not minting box. I'm going to crack this bad boy open, get good and hands-on with this pair, give them a good man-child playing with, get them displayed up, have them as my desk figures for a couple of days to fiddle about and see how they pose, etc., etc., take some pickies and all that. Jot down some review thoughts, and future Chris will come back and share those review thoughts with you in 3, 2, 1... All right then, folks, well, we'll get things started now on the review section of the video. We'll move into talking about the aesthetic qualities and the visual experience with the figures. And here they are to get us started, a full head-to-toe look of each of them, exactly as they came out of the packaging. So no accessories, no extra bits and bobs embellishing the figures. And as you can see, they are, just like Mercer was in the Slaughter and Mercer 2-pack, pretty heavily inspired by the Renegades 3-pack from way back in the day, which, in its own right back then was pretty movie accurate as well. There's some smaller touches that have differed, and obviously you've got the 6-inch plastic form upgrades and embellishments, but the core is the vintage look of the characters. Color scheme, general designs, etc., etc. It's pretty lined up with how they appeared in the movie and how they appeared in that original vintage figure 3-pack. Let's take a closer look at Red Dog here then. So the head sculpt's really, really nice, up to the usual G.I. Joe Classified Series standard. Got the great facial features sculpting in there, the chin, the cheeks, the lips, the nose, the eyebrows, the eyes, etc., etc. Nice inkjet paint applications on the lips, the eyes, the eyebrows. Got his little headband there, which is part of his kind of visual identity as well, both from the film and from that original vintage figure. Got his earring here in on the side, but no paint application on that, which is a little bit disappointing. It's just a, kind of one of those fine detail things. Maybe it got missed on mine, and others have got it, but yeah, it's not there now. And then you've got the sculpted hair as well, just as usual. Nice stern, gonna beat you in the face with my club kind of look on him there. And then moving down into the core figure, you can see he's got his football jersey there with the number 1 on, with the white embellishments like the lining around the neck area, the one in the center. Got his little short sleeve shirt on underneath as well with the ripped edges, and his little is that shark tooth necklace on as well. Got the black webbing belty thing going on there, with sculpted details in, no paint applications, but still a suitably kind of leathery effect. This is inspired by the vintage figure in the movie. If I remember right, these were kind of like a brown colour, not a black. And as you can see, it's a loose piece over the top as well, so there's a little bit of give so that it doesn't get in the way of your articulation. There's some other nice sculpted details in here. So he's got his little bracelet on, his little kind of Polynesian jewelry bracelet, Samoan jewelry bracelet on the side there in a kind of coppery or gold sort of colour. No painting on that little jewel at the top there, but you can see some nice tribal sculpted details in there. Painted and sculpted belt buckle as well. Everyone regular around these parts knows I like it when the belt buckle's got a bit of flavour to it. And some nice sculpted details in the belt as well, although skimping a little bit on the paint applications, like this buckle's got nothing on it there. And then he's got his loose little bracelet on the other arm as well. Is this reuse here, the little groin piece, is that from one of the Cold Slither figures with the like little strappy fly bit at the front there? But nonetheless, you've got the texture detail going down into the legs, little paint application down the side, giving him the red stripe, nice striking blue, again, a character accurate to the way we remember the character from back in the day. Little bit of paint application on the spare magazine in his holster, nice leathery effect on the holster as well. And then, of course, his boots, which I think, I'll dig them out in a bit, the same as Mercer's, but then he's got the steel heels as well. Although somebody tell me, well, I'm familiar with steel toe caps. What do you need steel heels for? Is that a horse riding thing? Then jumping on to Taurus, very unique, very eye-catching head sculpt there with a lot of shelf presence. We don't get many boldies, do we? But he's full-on chrome doming it up, absolutely. Got the nice sculpted detail on his very unique beard and moustache design. Good facial features, obviously, just like Red Dog, very unique to the character. Nice paint applications across the beard, the moustache, the teeth, the gritted teeth there, the eyes and the eyebrows and everything. And a lovely sculpt all the way around. You can see like the ears, and then the kind of contours and shapes in his bald head here. Yeah, more fine sculpted details as you move down into the figure. So you can see there's this webbing piece across the top. Has got some paint applications on the bullets that are being held across this shoulder strap there. No paint applications on the radio and the grenade, though, sadly, on the other side, but they are sculpted in. But we've got paint on his little shoulder pieces, his pauldrons here. And then his little gauntlet bracer piece on the back of his hand. You can see the metallic paint job matching the shoulder pieces across the front with the kind of texture detail on the underside there, and that continues onto the back of his glove piece. Although one thing I will point out visually that sometimes, hang on, let me get him in focus, is that when you curve it forward, can you see you've got the little bit of skin tone on the peg there that's not in black, sadly. You've got the standard yellow Taurus tee with a bit of muscle showing off on under the V-neck there. And then moving further down, you can see you've got two sculpted and painted belt buckles here, which is lovely to see in that kind of brassy kind of colour there with nice sculpted details, and the actual clasp is done on this one, and always a big fan when the belt loops on the pants are painted over the top of the belt as well. I really appreciate that, with a nice leathery look and effect across those. Got his little kind of steel enforced cod piece. Got to look after the most important area, your wrist, your shoulders and your balls. Texture detail carrying on down into the pants, and then sculpted padded knees, pistol holster on one side, knife sheath on the other. Both of these have got that kind of nice leathery sculpted detail on them. Sword sheath, I'll come back and talk about that in a bit. Bit of texture detail of it bunching up around the legs. Are these airbornes? I think these are airbornes. And then the boots as well. So aesthetically, yeah, I'm giving them a thumbs up. Nice visual experience, good shelf presence. Love the splash of colour that they both bring to the Joe side of the shelf, particularly Taurus, of course, with his big yellow V-neck t-shirt thing. Lots of individual features to sort of lean into their character and their personality as well. You know, that kind of Turkish circus performer vibe with Taurus, and the Samoan warrior vibe, the Polynesian warrior vibe with Red Dog, all kind of coming through in those little touches. Really love that. The only thing I mentioned a while ago was that I was a bit worried about their height, about their scale, but the more I think about that, I feel like my vision of the Renegades just being like really big, tall, bulky dudes is perhaps tainted by the fact that Falcon, you know, he was down on the floor. They were standing over him. It was an upwards perspective, and actually when you get them next to other figures, they do look suitably intimidating enough. So it's proven not to be an issue, my concerns about their height. So there you go. So yeah, thumbs up on the aesthetic. Very enjoyable visual experience with these guys, and will obviously, anyone like me who's a weirdo who likes the G.I. Joe the movie will love these guys. All right, well, there's the aesthetic, the visual experience. Let's now take a look at the articulation and posability. And just a very quick note on the articulation section, ladies and gents, it's a standard G.I. Joe Classified Series set of articulation on both figures. So if you've already had one in hand, you're already familiar with it, by all means avail yourself of the chapters that I've popped in. I've put timestamps in so you can jump ahead to the accessories and added value section. Also, it's the same articulation on both, so I'm just going to use one of the two figures to walk you through it and just point out any particular quirks that appear on either individual, you know. So let's get into it, and let's get started by looking at the head articulation, shall we? And the head's got a ball in the base of the skull, ball in the base of the neck, so you can get them forward about there, get them back about there, full 360 all the way around Exorcist. And tilt and swivel as you see fit. I'd possibly say Taurus has got a little bit more movement. I'm not sure why that is, maybe because of the design of his chrome dome head. Then moving down into the shoulders, it's the butterfly joint for shuffle forward and back, the peg and hinge on the armpits as well, so you can go full 360 and you can tee the figures out like so. The only difference I would point out with Taurus is that his shoulder pieces there, his little armoured shoulder pieces, are rubbery and they're attached in at that joint. So if you swivel him all the way around, you can see there the shoulder pieces move with him, and same again with the butterfly joint. Got the swivel here at the top of the bicep and tricep. Both have pinless double elbows. And both have pegged-in hands that can move in the wrist point, and then the various hands have different articulations. So these ones, for example, have up and down hinges on them, but you'll see with the hand swaps that differs. Some of them have got forward and back. Coming into the torso, you can see it's the hinge and the ball joint in there, so you can crunch forward like so, crunch back like that, all that swivel and movement in the waist too. And both of them, despite the fact that they've got these kind of like webbing pieces and straps and whatnot over the main torso, that it's not restricted at all. You can, loads of movement in there. Then it's drop down joints at the hips and the groin with balls at the end, so you can get them forward like so. Do the Russian ballets like that. Considering he's the circus performer of the pair, Taurus has a little less movement on that front. Then you've got the swivel at the top of the thigh. Both have pinless knees. Then Red Dog has a boot cut at the top of his long boot there, up to his calf. Taurus's boot cut is underneath the bottom of his trouser leg here. And then both figures have hinge and rockers for the feet and ankles. So yeah, it's up to the usual G.I. Joe Classified Series standard. Big thumbs up, both good movers. When I was playing around with them, posing them and taking some photos and doing some like character displays and what have you, nothing in the articulation was limiting my imagination. The only thing of note was that I wanted to try and get Taurus to two-hand his sword, out the front there, and I just couldn't. The butterfly joint just wasn't working. And Taurus, for some reason, doesn't seem to hold his gun very well. But I don't know if that's because of the... bye, Red Dog. I don't know if that's because of the positioning of this holster on the front there, maybe just making it all a bit difficult. But his butterfly joint, I couldn't quite get him to, double-hand his sword, which was a shame. He's all out of focus there, and let's rescue Red Dog. However, overall, in terms of articulation, managed to do a lot with these guys. I found them a very enjoyable experiences. A couple of desk figures to have hanging around for the last few days. Absolutely. So there we go. All right then, well, there's the articulation. Let's now take a look at the accessories and added value, shall we? And to get us started, you'll see here that the 2-pack comes with a range of sort of generic arms in the loadout for the two characters. So you've got a couple of pistols for them both there. This one that looks a little bit more like the, what's that, 1911? I think somebody taught me that in the comments one time before. Sort of sits well in Red Dog's holster and is in line with the pistol he got in the vintage figure. Then we've got another kind of pistol here that we've seen before. I think last one I had of that was Retro Duke, actually. That's more for Taurus and fits in his shoulder holster. And then we've got just a repeat again of Duke's rifle in black there, which we've seen a couple of times over the line. And then this one here, which is Taurus's, but looks a lot more practical and better looking than the weird kind of ray gun thing that the vintage figure came with back in the day. And then we've got this little suppressor here for Red Dog's pistol as well. All of them single molded pieces of plastic. The magazine is removable as it has been. Oh, I'm well out of focus there, sorry folks, but the magazine is removable on the rifle, the little submachine gunny thing here that you would tend to give to Red Dog. All good, all fine. Obviously opens up the world of possibility in terms of how you might want to pose them, how you might want to display them, how you might want to photograph them. You can see here, like I said, he's got a little cross holster piece there on Taurus with a rubbery pop stud on it to pop that pistol in there. Not the biggest fan of these kind of pop studs, but these ones aren't too bad. And then Red Dog's got his holster here. You can pop that in there like that. And then you've got this little channel in here to put the suppressor. There you go, like so. Then Taurus has got his sort of unique selection of weapons. So we've got his scimitar here. You can see it's got a kind of, the blade's made out of a metallic plastic, although it doesn't look too bad considering it's metallic plastic compared to like the metallic plastic on the slice and dice weapons. It's a little bit better. Then we've got the handle and the hilt here with some paint applications on them. But as you can see, I've had these for about 9 days now, and through playing with them, taking photos with them, pissing about with them, what have you, I'm starting to paint chip away on them there. And I don't know if some of you folks, I mentioned this around Ninja Force Zartan as well, that the paint started to chip, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, he's got his scimitar there. Then we've got an axe again, same sort of metallic plastic on this one. This one does look a bit more plasticky than the scimitar. And then the painted handle at the bottom there. And like a little curved Turkish-style dagger, again with the same metallic plastic on the blade and the same brown painted handle. And then Taurus has got his very kind of ornate-looking six-shooter there with a kind of brass or copper colour to it, with loads of nice little sculpted details in it, which is a lovely bit of kind of character and personality to that, to make his weaponry selection seem just a little bit more kind of a little older, a little bit more ancient, a little bit more kind of traditional in tone. And we got on figure storage again. There's a pistol holster here that sort of goes down the barrel of his six-shooter like so. It's not a fantastic fit. It's a bit loosey-goosey for my tastes. We got this little knife sheath on the other thigh here for the curved dagger, which you can slip in there like that. Then we got this bag of shit here for his scimitar. So a little kind of rubbery U-shaped little pouch with a rubbery pop stud on there. So you can sort of slide the scimitar in like that and then pop stud it over the top. I think it looks a bit lazy, that. It's not great, and the little kind of pop stud's a bit of a pain in the arse as well. You can see it just sort of... Yeah, not the biggest fan of this. I don't think that's very well implemented at all. Then we got Red Dog's selection here. He comes with a couple of sort of Samoan, Polynesian island sort of war club type things. These are lovely. Got that kind of darker wooden brown look to them in the plastic that they're sculpted out of. You can definitely see here that this war club, which is much more kind of traditional to the old, like the one he used in the movie and such like, it's got some nice extra sculpted details to give it some lovely depth and some more personality and character. And you can see the kind of wood grain effect down here and the sculpted details at the bottom. That's really lovely and very aggressive, very mean looking, but not as aggressive and mean looking as this one. Look at this war club. Jesus, that'll do you some damage, won't it? So yeah, he's got a nice selection of hand-to-hand combat kind of beat sticks there. And then he's got this little knife, black single piece of molded plastic that we've seen a couple of times in the line already. No storage on the figure for the clubs, but we do have a nice sheath at the back of the belt there. We'll put in that knife in like so. Each of the characters comes with a couple of hand swaps as well, so you can see here that Taurus comes with some trigger finger grippy hands, and then Red Dog comes with a closed fist and a evil claw, or a grabby hand, I suppose that would be more appropriate for Red Dog, which is all good and fine. Always happy to have hand swaps again to open up the world of possibility with the way I might want to pose and display my figures. And then we've got this backpack here. We've seen this before in the line, just a standard backpack. Kind of, I get the sense it's more for Red Dog than it is for Taurus. But, you know, a single big chunky piece of molded plastic, peg to go in the peg hole on the back of the figure. Nice sculpted details in there, but sadly no paint applications to give it any further depth or bring it to life a little bit more, like on the straps or at the caps of the carabiners or anything, which is a shame. And then finally, there's a fun little bit of kind of world buildery stuff for Red Dog here, you know, leaning into his lore as a failed pro player. Was he an ex-pro player? Obviously, he's still got his football jersey on in the character design. And we got an American football and a little American football kickstand there with the stitching up the side and the kind of pigskin leather effect sculpted into the football, and then just his little foot stand there. So if you're into, you know, making your Joes, pose them up or take a photograph of them being a little bit more recreational in their activity, you've got a little bit of something to throw in the mix there. It's just one of those nice little Easter egg nods that they sometimes chuck in, you know, like the chocolate bar with Quick Kick, for example, which I'm all for. It's just a nice bit of fun. Although I must admit, I haven't used that a great deal in the photos and the posing I was doing. I think I took one shot of him throwing the ball, but it's there nonetheless. So I think that's a pretty decent accessory selection. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. It certainly ought to be for the price of a 2-pack nowadays. You know, so you'll make your own mind up as to whether that's added value or not, according to the title of this section of the video. But yeah, it's nice stuff. I like that they've not just thrown things in what they often do with these kind of 2-packs or these multi-packs is just chuck things in for the sake of it. But even the sort of chucked in stuff makes sense. Like, let's make sure Red Dog's got a submachine gun. You know, the backpack is in line with the original vintage figure. They're throwing the football in, which is connected. You know, it makes sense. It's not just kind of thrown in stuff. I've definitely got a wealth of sort of Cobra weapons that keep getting chucked in with these sort of multi-packs that I've got very little. I'm just accumulating loads of them and have very little use for them, so it all adds up. So yeah, I like it. It's opened up my world of possibility in terms of how I pose them. Some of the pictures I took gave me some variety. I'm into it. So there you go. All right, well, there's the rundown of the accessories. Let's take a look at this pair next to a couple of other G.I. Joe classified figures now, shall we? Okay, well, I mean, so there's some pretty obvious display options with these guys. I'm going to start off by popping them next to the Mercer from the Slaughter and Mercer 2-pack. I've put Taurus in the middle there. I like the sort of balance of the red and the blue either side with the yellow and green in the middle. But yeah, they look like a right mean trio. Just kind of uniform, but also suitably shambolic. It's right on my street. It's just the same way as I love the Dreadnoks, I suppose, is that they're just like a bit ramshackle in all the right ways. Here's the pair of them with the original. This is the Deluxe Sergeant, the first Deluxe Sergeant Slaughter. And here they are with the Desert Camo Slaughter from the Slaughter and Mercer 2-pack, complete with wonky sunglasses. Here's Red Dog and Taurus with the Moonlighting Rawhide, the honorary member of the Renegades. This is the mainline Falcon with the Night Force head swap on him there, and one of the kind of movie style looking laser rifles. I don't know where that one's come from. And we'll finish up with the pair of them next to a Cobra La Royal Guard, who looks like proper, suitably kind of like alien and massive and bulky and weird compared to these two guys. All right, folks, well, we'll finish up with the pair of them going around on the turntable. And while you're looking at that, I'll offer up some final thoughts. And do you know what? Regulars around these parts will know I was always destined to like this set. I have very warm, nostalgic vibes towards the G.I. Joe the movie. These are two characters that resonated with me. I mean, they're just so 80s and out there, aren't they? They just got such a 80s animated movie vibe that I just love it. It just appeals to me greatly. But, there's always the possibility that even that character that you loved from something like Me with the movie, the sculpt comes around badly or something dodgy happens. And that's not the case with this pair. It's a good, solid set. If they are your type of characters, that's your type of Joe. If you like the movie, if you want to complete the Renegades, these are solid figures for sure. And I've had a lot of fun, kind of man-child playtime, just pissing around with them as desk figures, taking photos of them, doing little 1-minute showcases with them, little video footage bits and what have you. And they've been great. I've been having fun. And what more can you ask for? It's just a good, solid lump of your stranger side of G.I. Joe in G.I. Joe classified form, and that appeals to me greatly. So there we go. All right, folks. Well, I hope you found that useful. Obviously, drop your comments down below if you've got any thoughts that you'd like to share on the 2-pack. If it was useful, if it's helped you make a purchase decision, then do all the YouTubey stuff and press buttons and things that help me out. But in the meantime, all that remains to say is thanks for watching. Thanks for coming around. And swing back again another time for a future video, please. I'd love to have you. Be great to have you around these parts, all right? So, take it easy, folks. Turn around now.